Welcome back to Talkpoint. Tonight we are tracking a developing story of rural Ohio, where a freight train derailment has caused a hazardous chemical spill into a nearby river, forcing evacuations and triggering an urgent response from the Environmental Protection Agency. This incident is raising serious questions about rail safety, environmental protection, and the long-term health impact on nearby communities. Aerial footage of overturned train cars, emergency crews at the site. The derailment occurred late last night near the small towns of Millbrook, Ohio, when more than a dozen freight cars left the tracks. Several of the cars were carrying hazardous industrial chemicals, including substances known to be toxic both to humans and wildfire. At least one tanker car ruptured, leaking material into the Clearwater River, a major local water source. Authorities have confirmed that the chemical involved includes vinyl chloride, a substance used to plastic manufacturing that can release harmful gases when exposed to heat or air. Police setting up roadblocks, fire crews spraying foam, hazmat suits in action. Emergency crews quickly secured the area, setting up a 1-mile evacuation zone around the crash site. Local residents were told to leave immediately and a shelter was established at a nearby high school. The EPA and state environmental officials are on site conducting air and water quality testing. Officials have warned residents not to drink tap water until further notice, and bottled water distribution points have been set up. Dead fish in river, wildfire in wetlands, environmental clean-up crews. Yearly tests show tracks of trace of chemical containment in the Clearwater River, sparking fears of ecological damage. Experts warn that vinyl chloride and similar chemicals can be extremely toxic to fish and other aquatic life. If the spill spread downstream, it could impact larger waterways and drinking water system across the region. Residents also fear airborne contamination, especially if any chemical vapors are released during cleanup operations. Freight trains passing through rural towns, older rail infrastructure. This derailment is the latest in a string of high-profile rail accidents in the US over the past 2 years. The transportation safety advocates say that aging rail infrastructure, insufficient maintenance, and lax regulations on hazardous cargo transport are contributing factors. The National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) has launched an investigation into the cause, which could include truck failure, equipment malfunction, or human error. State Capitol building press conference with local mayor protest sign. Ohio's governor has called for a full review of rail safety standards, while environmental groups are demanding stricter rules for hazardous material shipments. On social media, many residents are expressing anger at what they see as preventable negligence, pointing out that trains carrying dangerous chemicals often travel right through small towns with limited emergency resources. Doctor consulting patients, children paying in yard community health clinics. Exposure to vinyl chloride can cause symptoms like dizziness, headaches, and nausea in the short time. Long-term exposure has been linked to liver damage and certain cancers. The EPA says it will continue to monitor air, soil, and water for weeks, possibly months, to ensure contamination levels to return to safe limits. Local hospitals are on alert for any increase in respiratory or neurological symptoms among residents. Cleanup crews with excavators, tanker trucks removing contaminated soil. Cleanup efforts are expected to be extensive and costly. Crews will have to remove contaminated soil, filter water supplies, and possibly rebuild sections of track and infrastructure. The NTSB investigation could take months, but yearly findings will likely be shared within weeks to inform safety and recommendation. River and sunset, empty streets in evacuated area, US flag flying over small town. This derailment is more than just a transportation accident, it's a reminder of the risk communities face when the hazardous materials are moved across the country every day. We will be following the EPA testing result, the NTSB investigation, and the stories of those displacement by the evacuation. That's it for the edition of this Talkpoint. Stay tuned as you keep you updated on the facts that matter and the questions that still needs answer.